Yes, you did.
What's happening, weirdos? This is an incredible episode. I'm not just saying it. It's a little bit shorter than our usual, but Jimmy Carr, the incredible Jimmy Carr, Ryan Seacrest of the UK. Somebody told me that, Katie. Somebody's like, you don't understand. He's huge in the UK. I know he's huge in the UK, but they had to tell me Seacrest before I really understood because I'm quite thick and dumb. But he's an amazing comedian and an amazing person, and this chat is wonderful. It was going to be with Sweet Lady Val co-hosting, but unfortunately she wasn't feeling well, didn't make it. But that means we get Randy and Jason Sklar, my friends, as co-hosts, and they are snipers in a cornfield. Every time they talk, it's hilarious and wonderful. And every time Jimmy talks, it's hilarious, wonderful, and deeply interesting. So I'm very excited for you guys to hear this. We recorded it as part of the Just for Laughs Comedy Fest in 2022. As I was looking for the date just then, I thought it was 2020. Thank God it isn't. This episode is brought to us by a new Pete's Pick, which I'm super excited. I've been taking PYM Chews for years, and they have absolutely 100% changed my life, specifically in how I cope with stress and anxiety. And I love that they are natural and amino acid based that helps your brain do what it is designed to do, which is help you cope when you are feeling overwhelmed. When I discovered PYM, it's called PYM because it's Prepare Your Mind. No joke, the first night I took them, I felt the difference almost immediately and ordered not just one, subscriptions for my mother and my brother, because I know that the Holmes family deal with stress. I know I do, and anxiety. So PYM Chews help you manage feelings of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. And it's wonderful to know that when you're feeling worried, stressed out, or as Val and I like to say, you have a bee in your belly, you can chew just 2 of these delicious, naturally citrus-flavored, no sugar-added chews, and in minutes you start to feel more centered, calm, and in control. It's literally a technique. I love having it in my cupboard, knowing I can return to myself when I need to. When I first tried them, I thought they were too good to be true, but here they are. We have a natural, non-addictive, and non-psychoactive solution to one of life's most common problems. I like to take it at the start of my day, in the morning, to sort of ease me into a flow state, ease me into the work that I have to do without a stressed out feeling. And I also take them at the end of the day when I'm looking to wind down and melt away the stress that I accumulated while I was working. How? Well, PYM Chews are comprised of proven amino acid complexes and adaptogens that help your brain, support your brain and your body's ability to organically support your ability to manage and tolerate stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. These specifically formulated amino acids target your neurotransmitters, specifically the GABA system, a naturally occurring neurotransmitter that helps the body manage chronic stress, supplying your body with GABA, L-theanine, and rhodiola. I hope I'm saying that right. I know it works. I don't know how to say it. PYM is on a mission to end the stigma surrounding mental health and to make a better mood accessible for all. And if that weren't enough, a percentage of their profits goes toward mental health nonprofits, including Bring Change to Mind, a wonderful nonprofit. So it's a new Pete's Pick. If you have anxiety and stress in your life and you're looking for a natural, gentle, effective way to give your body the nutrition it needs to fight off stress, honest to God, this is stuff that Val and I swear by, and I'm so glad they're sponsoring the podcast. Thank you, PYM. Check out this promo code here. Go to youcanpym.com/weird for 15% off PYM Mood Chews. That's youcanpym.com/weird. The second Pete's Pick that this episode is sponsored by is my old friend Alpha Brain, brought to us by our friends at Onnit. For the past, 6, 7, 8 years, I haven't done anything that involves my noodle, that's my brain, without taking 2 or 3 Alpha Brain 15 minutes beforehand. It helps with memory, it helps with focus, it helps with concentration. If I'm doing a podcast, if I'm doing stand-up, if I'm writing a script, or if I'm just going on a date with Val and I want to have full access to my memory and to my vocabulary and my ability to listen and participate, I always take Alpha Brain. It is not a stimulant. It's not like caffeine. It's not an energy drink. It's nutrition that your brain needs. It's earth-grown ingredients that help your brain function the way it was intended to and at a peak level. I so wish I knew about Alpha Brain when I was in college, when it came to memorizing facts, learning new things, reading books, all that sort of stuff. But I'm still learning. I'm still reading. I'm still growing. And when I do, I take a few Alpha Brain and I retain so much more than I would without it. I absolutely swear by it. I keep it in the jacket pockets. I keep it in the car. I keep it in my travel bags. I always, always, always have my Alpha Brain. And I just got some of their new Black Label, which I'm very excited to try. So if you want to give it a try, if you're using your brain, chances are you are, go to onnit, onnit.com/weird, and you'll get 10% off everything you see on that landing page. That's onnit.com/weird, and show your support of this show. All right, everybody, enjoy the brilliant, the wonderful Jimmy Carr and my friends, the guest co-hosts, the Sklar brothers. Get into it. We don't have a lot of time, and I'd really like to get to it. I invited 2 guest hosts. I'm going to bring them out, and then we'll bring out our special guest. Would you please welcome the Sklar brothers? Always delightful. Hello, my friends.
Hi, Pete. We're not short. You're just like 7 feet tall. People don't know that about Pete. He's 7 feet tall.
You guys have no idea. So I've been hosting shows in Montreal.
Yeah.
Montreal. All week. And I'm leaving, you're walking through the lobby, there's hundreds of people, and you're like, all right, time. I'm not doing it for that reason. There's no other way out.
That's right.
But I'm like, the ego flares up and goes,
Sure.
Old Holmes, he's about to get a few pats on the
Right.
back.
I'm ready to glad hand my way over to the inspiration room.
Ram, I was stopped. I won't lie to you today.
Let's be
3
honest.
times. I was tempted to say 4, but the real number is 3.
3 times.
3 times, someone stopped me and went, how tall are you?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right.
That's great.
And then again, how tall are you? 3 times people asked how tall I am. Is that the most impressive thing I did?
Yeah, that's
Was B long?
That's
A lot of motherfuckers are long, guys.
How was Pete's show? He was really tall.
He was so tall
really
for most of the show. He was very tall.
He was up there, really, really up there.
How short is? Well, I know what it is. It's because every comedian I brought on stage looked like my toddler, and I should have been like, "Welcome to the stage."
Who's a good comedian? Who's such a good comedian?
This is why I invited 2 of the funniest and nicest people in show business.
Thank you.
Randy and Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're gonna co-host. Please don't sit on those riffs.
We won't.
They never do. And please, everybody, just because my podcast is 2 hours long, and they were like, "You have the room for an hour," and I was like, "How tall are you?"
Do you see how tall I am?
Wait,
I
that
deserve
was
at
the
least
joke.
an hour and a half.
Do you see how tall I am?
Do I need to walk through the lobby and have 3 more people ask me?
I was eating at expectations because I think I have autism. I can't stop eating at the closest restaurant.
The best. So are you saying you're on? This is the worst joke ever. No, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave after this joke. You were eating at expectations. You think you have autism. Do you mean to say that you're on the spectrum?
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
That's
Good night, everybody. I'll see you later.
You gotta break a few eggs to make a comedy omelet, guys.
That's the clip for Instagram. I'm so happy you made that joke, and I'm also so happy that our guest is Jimmy Carr. Can you believe it? Jimmy Carr! Turn that off. YouTube's gonna yank the video. We don't have Axl Rose money.
That's my theme tune. Welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and games. It's great to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing it.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
I'm very touched. You make John Mulaney look like a hobo, sir.
That's right.
dressed up Mulaney.
Bitch stole my look.
You are a delight. We actually accidentally had lunch today. Or
yes.
breakfast, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, we had a brunch.
We had a brunch. Okay, there it is. See, even the way you say that makes me feel elegant.
It felt very obvious there.
Yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, I don't know what you'd call it.
Lunch.
Famously, there is a word for that.
If only there was a word for it.
It's all they serve in Expectations also, so I really feel like you should have had the jump on this.
They probably say that at the top of the menu, brunch all day. You know what I mean?
And yet I was confused. But I ran into you and Neil Brennan, two of my favorite people, and we had like a pre-podcast. Everything you said was so wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you very much indeed. But let's let the listener decide.
Yes, sure.
Because let's manage expectation here.
Expectation.
I'm going to say, can we turn Jimmy's mic up just a little bit? He's not as...
Also, if I could be 10% funnier.
Yeah, sure.
I mean...
That worked. I don't know what you pressed, but wow.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
That's so much funnier, by the way. That's so much funnier.
Yeah.
Over 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Take it back 2.
That's
Just take it back 2.
It's not fair to the rest of us.
That's right.
But you are like a champagne flute became a person, and
Be our guest. Yeah, it's that vibe, isn't it?
But Belle uses you, not Beast.
Yeah.
Beast can't handle you with those paws.
No.
Sure.
No one could hold you.
Sure. I'm exactly what you ordered as a British man.
That's right.
Somewhere between Mr. Bean and Hugh Grant. Bullseye.
Yeah.
I had a great moment with Hugh Grant. It's a fun story.
I love it.
I hosted a party in my house, and I had lots of people there. I know Hugh pretty well, and my friend brought along Monica Lewinsky. And so Monica's in my kitchen. She's a friend. I know her. If you haven't seen her TED Talk, it's fantastic about being publicly shamed in the internet age. Anyway, she's in my kitchen, and Hugh's there, and I introduce them. I say, Hugh, this is Monica. Monica, this is Hugh. And Hugh Grant says, oh, hello, I'm Hugh. I'm the other fellatio scandal from 1992.
And then Eddie Murphy walks in and is like, not so fast!
There you go.
Oh my God! Did a portal open to another world?
I mean, he's a very, very funny boy, Hugh Grant. He's he feels like he's got that thing. You know, when you meet someone and you go, he should have been a comic.
Is that right?
Should be. I know acting and great. You're a movie star. Should have been a comic.
You know who loves Hugh Grant, and you can tell? Kumail Nanjiani used to watch all the Hugh Grant movies in Karachi, and he was obsessed. And when my wife and I watched Notting Hill recently because we have a lesbian relationship.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Pete, that explains the hair.
Yeah. This
and
hair,
everything you're wearing.
That's right.
This hair definitely makes its own cheese. Yes, that's true. I don't mean the hair itself. I have to go. But we were watching it, and we were like, you can see Kumail in his delightful performance, which I would say holds up. Let me just text him real quick.
Yeah, do it.
On my phone?
Yeah.
That's going to be tricky. Who are you
see.
texting? You're not going to be
How
able to
come
open
your
my
Siri
phone.
doesn't do it?
No, there's Siri.
You don't have...
Are you fucking
You've got to
joking?
open the phone first.
Please.
That would have been a solid
They know enough about me.
Oh, you turned Siri off.
Yeah, I have no interest in that.
Can I run a premise by you?
Yes.
Here it comes.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Maybe you are autistic.
Yes.
Feels like, it just feels like, I don't know how you feel like as listeners, but it feels to me like if you're going to ask a question in a podcast, just ask it.
Yeah.
Look, let's finish this conversation at expectations.
That's right.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I've been doing a bit where I'm like, we put a listening device in our homes, Alexa, and what we got in exchange was music. Period, pause. We already had music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they were like, we'll give you music. And I'm like, we already had that, but we're like, we'll make you won't have to do this anymore. And that's very bizarre.
Well, what if that was a joke? Here you go. Well, no, it's the thing that I had was iPhones.
You should see it when I yell it.
You're all aware of this thing, the audience, the phone secretly listening to our conversations?
Yes,
so you'll be chatting to a friend about the good old days, and then for the next 2 weeks you're bombarded with adverts for anal beads and butt plugs?
Sure. Been there. Which, by the way, they sell those at Expectations.
They do.
Oh, is that it?
Hey, what do you mean is that it? The big laugh is the clue it's over. How long you been in this business? Okay, come on, let's...
I love that you laugh like the dolls in Toy Story 4.
That's right.
The scary antique dolls.
That was our joke.
Now listen, my movie career, I was in Goosebumps, Toy Story 4. I've done a lot of stuff.
Sure.
I don't know. You know I love roasting. We've done a few roasts together, so you're bringing it out of me. But honestly, I'm thrilled that you're here. And kind of in the spirit of the podcast, one of the things we mentioned we could talk about is, as you called it, the Tao of comedy. I'm very interested in that.
I wrote a book in the lockdown. You basically had a choice as a comedian. Our managers came to us when we had COVID and the lockdown, and we were locked away for 18 months and couldn't work. They said, well, you can do a podcast or you could write a book. And I took the dignified decision. And I'm better than this. I'll do a book. So I wrote a book, and
So when the podcast failed, you did the book, and
so I did the Can Podcast Fail?
Yeah. Wait, was that the title of the
Stay
book?
tuned. So I wrote this thing about it started off as a biography, and then it became like a self-help book. Basically taking, that's the problem with self-help, the problem with Eckhart Tolle and the power of now is the people that need it don't read it. Because, if you're drawn to that kind of thing, and it's very earnest, and all the stuff is correct in those books, they're fantastic if you can be bothered to read them, but they don't sweeten the pill. So I thought, well, I'll kind of take some of that stuff that I've read over the years that's really helped me and sort of apply it through comedy to life. Because the basic lesson of every self-help book in the world is the same premise. It's prioritize later over now. That's all they say. It's prioritize later over now. And really, I think the journey of every stand-up comedian is that. We spend so much, no one gets there quickly. Everyone's like 10,000 hours, like learning how to write jokes, learning how to do this, and then suddenly it pops. But we're just always kind of looking at the future. And it's a really interesting kind of, for young comics, sort of, it's just, write jokes. That's it.
Right. Yeah. So prioritize, it's interesting. I thought you were going to say the opposite, especially after you dropped Eckhart Tolle, who would say prioritize now over later.
Well, it's interesting, like where you find that balance in life is really interesting of like going, do you have as much fun as you possibly can today without totally fucking up tomorrow?
Yeah, I love that.
It's like, it's great, but that thing of like going, if there's no such thing as a time machine, right? But there kind of is. But the time machine is only moving in this direction at this speed. But you can give yourself gifts in the future. You can have the best stand-up show in the world in 5 years' time. You just need to work. You can be thin. You just need to diet and exercise. You can be rich. You just need to save money. It's like it's that thing of like going. You get to meet you in 20 years' time, but it's not like you don't just appear like Bill and Ted's. It's just wait around. You're going to be there, and who are you going to be? And the idea of kind of saying that, like through comedy, I came to it quite late. I was about 26 when I started, and I just put so much into it. And I kind of think that's the other great thing that I learned from, or that comedy gave me or taught me. It was like finding your edge in life. It might not be comedy, but whatever you do better than anything else. Like, what's the thing that you do best, and lean into that. Because we live in kind of a specialist economy, right? We live in a specialist economy, so you don't want someone who's like, school teaches you to be quite good at everything. But then the world doesn't want more C grades in physics. No one needs that. Like, find the thing you're good at, just lean into that and specialize. And that was the thing that kind of comedy taught me, which I think is kind of it's a transferable lesson.
Yeah, what I find interesting, I feel like we could have applauded that. I feel like we should applaud that. That was great.
So they weren't sure if he was done yet. So
yeah, I know.
I
actually, that's why I was trying to give permission, because I was like, I want to applaud that, but we didn't want to stop you from making another great point. Well, let me ask you this. I find when I talk to people, one of the ways that sometimes I think people might be misguided is they're trying to bend into a specialty, the thing that they're better at anything than anybody else.
No, not better than anyone else.
Right.
That's a very important distinction. It's the thing that you do best.
That's
you don't have to be world class at anything. It's just the thing that you do. But that thing of like, what you enjoy the most. Like the 10,000 hours thing, the thing that Gladwell misses, and I love that book. You've read Outliers, right? Yeah.
Do you know that it only took him 9,000 hours to write that book? Apparently.
Merge into one. We are. Merge into one.
Thank Thank you.
That joke was so good. You go, I loved it.
But that thing of like, the
brilliant.
thing he misses is like, what, like he's sort of, the premise of the book is, well, you do it for 10,000 hours, look at the Beatles and they rehearse for that long and then suddenly they're this fabulous band because they come together. And comedians all do that. We're all on the road and then it happens after that amount of time. But it's what could you stand to do for 10,000 hours? That's the interesting question. There's two great journeys on life. The first is finding what you want to do, and the second one is doing it. And tragically, most people get to do neither. They never get to find that thing that they want to do, the quest. But the first thing is finding the quest, and you kind of need to know who you are before you go on like the superhero movie kind of thing. If you need to know who you are before you go on the quest.
But you don't put there's a little bit of talent, I think
That's the edge. That's the leaning into...
The thing that you do that is, because there's a mixture of the talent that you have and getting enjoyment out of leaning into that talent.
Yeah, but the two great myths, I believe, in our culture are luck and talent. Right? It's like the talent...
luck and the Bible.
Yeah. But that thing of like the talent myth is there in our society, right? You go, it's talent and hard work. The two myths are talent and hard work. So you look at someone like Michael Jordan and you go, my God, he's so naturally gifted, right? But I tell you, that guy's nothing without hard work. Absolutely nothing without hard work. And you look at someone like Bill Gates, and it's like, oh my God, he worked so hard. He was in the computer lab for 16 hours a day. He worked so hard. And you go, no, that guy's nothing without talent. It's always a mix of the two. It's always that thing of like, you have to...
I'm going to play devil's advocate because I think Michael Jordan was built in such a way that like his height, the way he was physically put together.
If that guy doesn't train...
If he doesn't train as hard, he was so tall. He's an NBA journeyman. He's not the greatest of all time. Like the thing, and I would argue with Michael Jordan, the interesting thing here is he trained so hard and put so much into it that it fucked up the rest of his life. Like he couldn't have friends. He had to like throw quarters against a wall with with the security guard who wasn't his friend at all to try and steal the quarter.
Someone told
him.
me a great story about, this has got nothing to do with anything, but you want to hear the story? Yeah.
He's in my kitchen.
This is what we do on podcasts.
He was at the end of my friend's garden, Willie. My friend lives on a fancy golf course, and Michael Jordan walked by. And he was playing with his friends, and they were gambling for, I think it was something like $10,000 a hole, $150 for the 9. So there was a lot of money. And they're gambling at that level, and then his friends go, Michael Jordan's friends, and he's still there for another day. He's got hours. So he says to the pro golfer, he says, would you want to play? And the pro golfer goes, yeah, great, I'll play. And he goes, for money? And the pro golfer goes, oh no, I can't play for 10,000 a hole. And Michael Jordan goes, no, it doesn't have to be 10,000 a hole. Whatever makes you uncomfortable.
I will. It's what he said to his wife too. Whatever makes you uncomfortable.
Oh my God.
No, but I think what you're saying is that we have a range. This is what I think we're all kind of saying, is that we all have a range of the outcomes of what our sort of pursuits will become. What will the outcome become? If you put tons of work in with a mix of talent, then you can be at this level within your range, at the top of your range.
Well, I mean, I suppose at its extreme, it's like if you have no aptitude. Like, you can be anything you want to be in the world. It's total fucking bullshit. Why are we telling kids that? You'll never be... You guys are not going to be NBA stars.
No.
Work as hard as you want. It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
So the aptitude plus the work, and then it's that thing of going, think of yourselves like Michael Jordan, think of yourselves like gamblers, and say, well, what's my largest... Edge is about your largest chance of success. What's the thing that you do? Well, I think I've got an angle here. I think I've got the best chance at succeeding at this thing. And then you push yourself into that.
Can I ask you the question then? What I run into is a lot of people tend to think their thing is something that our culture values. Fame, power, money, right? But often their thing very well may not be one of those things.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I've got a theory on fame,
I'd like
wealth, and power,
Go ahead.
which is fame has replaced heaven in a secular world. Fame is the land of milk and honey. You think everything's going to be okay when I'm rich and famous. And then, read the papers. Rich and famous people have the same problems, just they don't have the problem with money. Or they have a different problem with money.
Well,
but it
like
has
our telling.
replaced...
You have a dream home, and you used to worry about where you would live. Then you get a dream home. Then you worry it's going to burn down.
Sure, and or something's going wrong with it.
Yeah. I know a lot of rich people that are obsessed with recycling. That's
real. It's David Lee Roth referred to his mansion as a tomb with a view.
Oh.
I love that.
Was that before or after he became a paramedic?
That was why he became a paramedic.
That's why he became a paramedic.
You aware of the story? David Lee Roth left. He was in rock and roll, and he left, retrained, became a paramedic in an all-Jewish neighborhood of New York in order to serve.
Really?
Yeah. For 2 years, he was a paramedic.
I can't believe
and then went back
that,
to rock and roll.
I can't believe
He's
that
incredible.
ambulance company replaced him with Sammy Hagar. That was not a cool move. And then with Gary Sharon.
From extreme? That felt extreme.
That felt a little.
This is a day off for old Holmesy, I'll tell you that right.
Sorry, old Holmes.
No.
I love you.
Are
bud.
you kidding me? This is the best day of my life.
Yeah, it's interesting, that thing of like fame and like what you're going for. It's that thing of like, what's success in life? And different people. You can talk about fame and fortune. And obviously, a festival like this is often the thing about Montreal and Just for Laughs. The festival we're at is people often talk about, oh, they got a sitcom deal, or they're doing a HBO special, or Netflix, or whatever. But actually, it's the process, right? What's the enjoyable thing about comedy? Well, it's being in a flow state. How often can you be in a flow state? So some people get to do it as their job. Not everyone, but some people, we get to do it as our job. We're in a flow state, we're on stage. It's absolutely the most enjoyable thing in the world to be in a flow state. Some people do it as a hobby. They find a sport that they love, and they play tennis or whatever it is, and they're in that state, and it's so relaxing, and it's important to have that every week. You have to have that in your life.
Yes.
And if you can make that your job, you'll never work again.
Well, that's in the movie Happiness, which it's a movie I watch every couple years. It's a documentary. And they talk about line cooks get in a flow state, and it's one of the reasons why they enjoy their work.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my point, is to the people listening, do you understand what I'm saying? The people that bend and they assume they want to be a movie star when really maybe they would be a brilliant something else.
The problem with being a comedian at this festival, and look around, people get to be a comedian and then they try and do other shit. And I think they're crazy. They have the best job in the world and they go, yeah, but now I'm going to be in a sitcom. Motherfucker, you should have been an actor then if you want to be an actor. Be a stand-up.
Here.
Hang on a second. Pete's a good actor.
I know what you mean.
Pete
I
is
know
a good actor
he's a
because he
great
pretended
actor.
not to be hurt by that.
That's right.
No.
And he's pretending to be interested in what you're saying so much. No, I'm kidding.
Pete's such a good actor. In one movie, he played like he was 5'8". That's just great acting. It is. The other night, we were supposed to do Pete Holmes and Friends, and there was a fire at the Monument Theater, and so they had to bring all the Canadian new faces over and canceled our show. Our show with Pete, and that we were going to be on with Pete. We came there, we were so excited to do it, and all these Canadian new faces, Pete hosted that show, which was great. And to talk about the love of comedy, Jay and I just sat next to the stage while Pete did his set.
Yeah.
Instead of just going back and fucking off back to the hotel, we sat and wrote like tags of jokes.
Yeah.
For Pete.
Off
Just every time he came off stage, we pitched him tags on his jokes.
It was amazing.
And we should have left. Like, we should have been gone. But to talk
I always
about
think that's a really good test of like when you're at the festival and there's new faces and new comics that you haven't met before, and the festival's been going a couple of days, and you ask them what they've seen, and if they tell you they haven't seen anything, they're not going to make it. Mm-hmm. It's that thing. If they've gone out and they've seen a bunch of shows and they're into comedy,
because they love it.
great. Yeah, if they love it, they'll be fine. Because there's going to be hard years, but if you love it, who cares? It's fine.
That's absolutely right. The moment when you're at your comfortable house and you have a set that you're going to go to, and you just don't. There's a feeling inside of you going, I don't want to do this set. But you go and you know that something special might happen on stage. You might go backstage and hang out with people that you love and have those moments of true joy.
Here's the problem.
That's what it's all about.
Here's the problem with comedy. For me, certainly, it's work is more fun than fun. You go to work, you go, this is unbelievable, and then you go out for dinner with friends and go, I don't know.
It's because you're hanging out with Hugh Grant.
I
guess you're nice, but
Valerie and I just had that. I did a set at the Improv, and then we went to a party, and I'm only mentioning this because it makes the story better. It was the cast of Ted Lasso was at this party, and I couldn't wait to leave. I was like, I've already done my cocaine. May I leave? My stage cocaine.
wow, that's the title of the tell-all biography that comes out.
I've already done my cocaine.
I've already done my cocaine. That's my memoir at the end of life. I already did my cocaine. Montel Williams is Montel Jordan.
This is how we do it.
And his memoir will be called That Was How I Did It.
That was. Also, I'm not Montel Williams. That's the colon.
No, I'm not Montel Williams. Let me ask you
Parenthetically.
this. Backstage, you said something interesting. We were talking about jokes, and you said, don't you sometimes feel like the joke already existed?
Yeah, I sometimes get that when you're writing a joke and it feels like that. The old stories about Leonardo da Vinci was asked about his.
Was he in your kitchen?
He was not in my kitchen, but it was the famous story about him being asked about, David, how did you do that? And he just said, I just chipped away everything that wasn't David. As like
And
that,
David
marble
said,
statue.
could I have had a bigger dick? Could you have left some of that
Could
marble?
you?
Are you certain that's not David? I'm going to be standing nude for millions to see. Could you leave a little bit more that is David? Hot riff.
Yeah.
I mean, if
What?
you've got to say hot riff,
No, he did.
he said it.
But I love that. But
Yeah.
you've had the...
But I think that joke thing of like sometimes you just go, I can't believe no one's seen it was right there. Certainly with some of the wordplay. I mean, mine is kind of a mix of there's some observational stuff and there's quite a lot of wordplay and it's layering up stuff. So when you're writing a show, you have the bare bones of the joke, the discipline of like trying new jokes all the time, and then there's kind of a routine that's about something, and then you're layering points with one-liners over the top. Because joke writing is quite a rare skill. There's not many people that can write an hour of jokes that people want to watch. And you go, I want to lean into that and deliver. I like the frequency of comedy as well. I like that idea that it should be sort of, that phrase, laugh a minute. You go, gee, I wouldn't make a living. A laugh a minute. You want 3 laughs a minute. You want the audience to kind of get a bit giddy. Because ultimately what we are is drug dealers.
Yes.
We're
Dopamine,
dealing in dopamine endorphins. The genius of it they'll never take us alive is because the drugs are already on the audience. And we're just tickling them out.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, but also I would argue that your set, in addition to all of that, underneath all of that is your perspective. Is Jimmy Carr's perspective on all, like, ties the whole thing together. So, I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I never say what I think on stage.
But
I'm
it's
not
there.
that kind. But I think comedians leak.
It's subtly
My big
there.
theory on comedians is we leak. So I do an hour of jokes and they're about the worst things in the world.
Yeah.
They're brutal. And then somehow people have a sense, oh yeah, this guy's probably slightly on the left and pretty liberal. It's weird how people know who you get a sense of the comedian.
Yeah.
I mean, the other big, my big theory on comedians is, you want a big theory on comedians?
I can't wait to hear it.
Okay. If you meet a comedian, if you're hanging out with a comedian, ask them which one of their parents was sick. Most comedians I know had to take care of a sick parent, either mentally or physically. They had one of their parents that was sick, and their job in the household was vibes, and they had to make things okay, and then they lent into that. And I think that...
Pete, is that not true to you, Pete?
I just turned up a face I was genuinely making for laughs, but yeah, that's fucking right on. You're like Anthony Jeselnik became Dr. Phil.
It's an interesting conversation, because I think, at the festival or whatever, when you meet comics, it's like you could do small talk. Oh, you see any good shows, whatever. Just get into it straight away. Which
Yeah.
one of your parents was sick?
Yeah. I'm not trying to, it's not a gotcha moment. Was that your experience?
My mother was very depressed, I think my whole life. And you don't realize as a kid, because you grow up in that household and you think it's normal to just be in your dressing gown all day. And she was she self-medicated with humor. She was incredibly funny and depressed. And it was a wonderful, she was a wonderful person to be around. She didn't it wasn't like a dark atmosphere, but she was clearly suffering with it. And she's kind of the reason I do this, I think, in terms of you're kind of inspired by that, the magnetism. I always make a distinction with comics as well. My other kind of theory is there's 2 types of comedians. There's charming and charismatic. And the words have become conflated in our world, right? Charming, charismatic, the same. I don't think it is the same. I think it's vastly different. So if you think about Obama, right? President Obama is charming.
Hilarious. He is hilarious. I mean, go ahead. Have you seen his mom jeans all the way up to the... all the way up. And with pleats.
I can't wait to find out if he's charming or charismatic.
Yeah.
Well, he's incredibly charming. So he's head to the side.
I'm a bit charming. Not so much.
But it's
charismatic.
here's how I would
So
the
B-minus.
distinction would be I come to you. That's charm. I come to you. You want to say yes to him before he's asked the fucking question. It's charm. Trump is charisma. You don't forget whether you like him or don't like him. You don't like him, but let's be clear. But he's charisma. You come to me. If you think about Jennifer Aniston, charm personified, Angelina Jolie, charismatic. One isn't better than the other. They both get to fuck Brad Pitt.
That's right.
But they're very different skills, and I think that partly the thing of like the other thing that comedy gave to me was you have to know who you are in order to kind of to make good on it. You know whether you're charming or charismatic. You have to know that. Know what you're working with.
Pete, they both get to fuck Brad Pitt, but only one of them gets to drink his blood.
Jolie?
Oh, no, I was going to say Aniston, but...
That's what's in smart water?
I don't know.
Let's not...
That's so true. The charisma... The charisma. Charisma versus charm. I think that is...
I don't know which I am.
Well, charm. Jesus Christ, how could you not see that? Well, I mean, you're literally your charm personified.
Oh, wow.
You're incredibly charming. It's like it's almost like a superpower.
Wow.
You've just got this ability to kind of people feel very, very comfortable, and the warmth that you project when you do comedy it's extraordinary. And in the sitcom, the whole thing, I'm right? It's
That's very good. Well, I do.
it's lovely. Yeah. Whereas I
Yes, which are you?
barely have a human heart. I'm charismatic. It's a different thing. But it's interesting, like going, one isn't better than the other. We're washing the same side of it. We're washing different sides of the same elephant.
Yeah. I would say you're a cigarette marketed towards ladies personified. After you were so nice.
So, Pete, where are you going?
I don't know.
Where's he going?
I don't know.
He just got taller. He went up on the chair to get taller.
Just give me a second. I'd just like to say a couple of words about menthol slims.
Look, it was so nice and so sincere. I just know that I hope that's your love language. You and I worked on roasty jokes all the time. I don't want to not get to it. So can we jump a little bit to God? I know you're an atheist, a horatheist.
Yeah, I think I'm an atheist, but I think it's that thing of I always think the most interesting question in life is what was the last thing you changed your mind about? That's my favorite question to ask someone. And if they go nothing, you just okay. Well, you've not been thinking. You've just been rearranging your prejudices.
Wow.
You should change your mind about something very important.
All the way.
Every year. And I am an atheist, but I think the spiritual side and what those stories give us, I think has got tremendous benefits. There's something in myth and legend that's incredibly important. And why do those stories survive? Why are those stories like 2,000 years old, 3,000 years old stories, and they resonate with us? Mm-hmm. And so it's almost kind of leaning. I'm not a religious man, but like when you look at the Jungian archetypes and you look at those things that just remain in society, I think that's very powerful.
Yes, I wanted to share.
But it's sorry on that religious thing. I think what do you think about all the time? What do you think about? What do you wake up thinking about? What do you think about all day? What do you check your phone for all the time? That's your God.
Yeah, Richard Rohr says follow the money. What do you spend your money on, too, is another great way to see what you actually give a shit about.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting... I mean, I always think that's... it's interesting. It's like, where do you actually spend your time? What are you really thinking about?
That's the other one. He says time and money.
I think time much more than money.
Yeah.
I think time is the only thing.
I would agree with that. And honestly, I hope that's true because I spend a lot more time trying to delight people than I do giving them money.
Great.
I'm not saying I don't give people money, but I do this a lot, and I hope this is of service in some way.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a nice thing, but it's interesting, like where you choose to spend that time. Like all we have is, the terrifying truth is, the world is a thing that we make, and we could just as easily make it a different way. And that, that's the world, but also our individual lives. People are constantly saying, especially like over breakfast today, we were chatting about the state of the world and how terrible it is.
Brunch.
And you can only... Brunch, sorry.
That's right. It's
How tall are you?
get it exactly right. Get it exactly right, please.
But that thing of like just taking responsibility for your bit of it seems to be a very worthwhile thing of like just going, well, I can control this bit and make it better.
I'm obsessed with a teacher named Rupert Spira, who's British, and you should know him. And
You should be in your kitchen.
he said when he was 7 years old, he said to his parents, I think this is God's dream, and it's our job to make it as nice of a dream as possible. Whether or not you believe in that literally being true, I think that's sort of what you're getting at. Like, we can change it, we can make it however we want it to be.
You know the John Lennon story?
Tell me.
John Lennon, when he was 7, he was in school, and they said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And John Lennon said, happy. And the teacher said, I don't think you understand the question. And John Lennon said, I don't think you do.
Wow. That's incredible.
So I'm going to tell you a tiny story about my son.
About Ringo Starr.
Ringo Starr. So it's about how you choose to define. You're talking about how you define something. So my son, in a very funny way, the other day said, we drove by a restaurant, and he said, oh, I have so much nostalgia for that place. And I was like, the place we ate at last week? I said, I don't think you understand what nostalgia means. And he looked at me and he said, remember when you said that? He did. Which I thought was funny, but then I was like, oh, wait, why am I telling him what nostalgia is? Why am I trying to define for this person what this ethereal concept that we really can't touch is?
Here's what I think. I think happiness is expectations exceeded.
Did you say expectations? I'm sorry. You did. I heard
we have
that.
a winner.
I heard that. No, but you're right. 100%.
But I think it's that thing of like, why is New Year's terrible, right? New Year's is terrible.
Awful, always.
Well, because the expectation is this is going to be the best night of the year. Right. It's going to be huge, and there's just a night out. And if you go out on a Tuesday and you have drinks with people from work and you end up at a club, it's like, this night is incredible. Birthdays, I feel the same about. Birthdays, often the pressure, it's just too much.
Right. I feel the same about comedy. I don't want the fanfare. I don't want to be brought up as the greatest, blah, 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 all that stuff. It's like, actually, let's go in being like, let's see how this goes. Instead of, I don't want to do New Year's Eve comedy. No. Literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, when we talked briefly in the lobby about atheism, you said, I'm interested in science. And then you said, can I load you even more? You said, what is science studying? And we had a nice little bond where I was like, we're having the exact same conversation.
Well, I think some people sort of, if they say they're an atheist, they'll say, I believe in science. And you sort of go, your next question should always be, what's an isotope? Because they're going to go, okay, I guess I'm going on faith as well.
Yes. Wow.
And the illusion that there isn't any faith involved in science is slightly, because even a scientist is not a specialist in all science. So you go, okay, so there's observable fact, and we're following that, but there's a mystery to it as well. Physics at a very high level, there's a mystery and there's a magic and a wonder. Sure. And I think I get the same kind of wonder that I used to get from religion. I was raised Catholic. I get that same kind of wonder, but if you watch like Brian Cox is this incredible astrophysicist in the UK, you watch one of those documentaries about the solar system and you just think, wow, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Let me try and remember what I was just gonna say, because I was listening so hard I dropped it.
We'll take a minute. This is the pause point.
No.
Why don't we do an advert for Foursquare? That's normally what happens on a podcast.
Sure.
That feels appropriate.
What's happening, weirdos? Lately, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. I'm about to have Father Greg Boyle on the podcast. I've been listening to his incredible book, Tattoos on the Heart, and it has been great. One reason it's been great is because I use my Raycon wireless earbuds to do it. You heard? Raycon's everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever with optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit. These earbuds are so comfortable, and they will not budge. Even on the treadmill, these guys stay in place. Trust me, Raycon gives you 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life. Raycons are also priced just right. You get high-quality audio at half the price of other premium audio brands. audio brands. It's no wonder Raycon's everyday earbuds have over 50,000 five-star reviews. They have 3 customizable sound profiles, earbud tap functionality, functions, I guess I could just say, noise isolation, and awareness mode. So go to buyraycon.com/weirdo. Note that it's not weird, it's weirdo. Buyraycon.com/weirdo today to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/weirdo to score 15% off. BuyRaycon.com/weirdo and show your support of the show. It's also brought to us this episode by our friends at Dadgrass. This has to be the Pete's pick that I enjoyed, I'm going to say 10 times more than I even thought that I would. These are bringing back Dadgrass. You probably see them in some of the cooler shops around the neighborhood if you're like me. It's bringing back the chill casual smoke, and I'm loving it. Chill out all summer long with Dadgrass because it's too nice to be couch locked. They'll mellow you out while keeping your head clear and ease away the stress of the day. Dadgrass is legal organic hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind. Dadgrass CBD products are made with 100% organic hemp that's easy to dose, and the effects come on smooth. They offer a variety of products and their token from their token smokable pre-rolled joints, that's what I have, as well as their hemp flower and variety of CBD tincture drops, which I also have and love. This means you can enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear head. And I don't know, I'm not big into different things that people are doing at parties, but I love bringing my pack of Dadgrass to a party. It keeps me clear while melting away stress, and also, frankly, gives me something to do at the party with my hands, like Will Ferrell. What do I do with my hands? And Dadgrass products are federally legal for ages 18 and over and ships right to your door anywhere in the U.S. So go to dadgrass.com/weird to check out their products. Whether you're looking for a new buzz or a chill way to enjoy an old favorite, Dadgrass will leave you in a euphoric mood. And right now, Dadgrass is offering weirdos 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/weird. Go to dadgrass.com/weird for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/weird. Sincerely, been enjoying those quite a bit. Something wonderful to sit on the porch with at the end of a day. Last but not least, guys, it's time to bring that summer heat into the bedroom. You know what I'm talking about. The temperatures aren't the only thing that's rising this summer. That's right. This episode is brought to you by, it's sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, confidence can take you far in life. It can also help in the bedroom, especially when it comes time to step up to the plate, and that's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever the opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, the whole thing is done online. That means no more visits to the doctor, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. With Blue Chew, men everywhere excited to see the postman because your package has arrived. Your package has indeed arrived. They always say first impressions are important, but what about lasting impressions? Time to get off the couch, back to work, and if your tool needs an upgrade, head to BlueChew.com. Women say there's nothing sexier than confidence, and Blue Chew can help you give you confidence where it counts. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And we've got a special deal for weirdos. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code WEIRD at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code WEIRD to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. All right, enjoy the rest of the show. What are we studying?
So my wife's brother worked at the CERN, which was a huge particle accelerator in in Geneva that tried to recreate the conditions of the world before the Big Bang and smash particles together to figure out there was an equal amount of matter and antimatter in the world, and now there is no antimatter. Where did it go? And that was the experiment they were trying to do. But it's a very scientific experiment. You're smashing particles around a 2-mile loop underground. But there is all this mystery. Like, they don't...
I was actually what I was going to say.
We talked about... We talked about... We talked about the big... I think this may be... I don't know if it's antimatter, but it's anti-material.
That's right.
Go ahead, ask.
Thank you.
I was going to say the worldview of there are no miracles is predicated on one pretty big fucking miracle. That's what I wanted to say. The Big Bang.
Well, people are very interested in the Big Bang. You know, the Big Bang was originally a negative term.
What do you mean?
It was someone came up with a theory of the Big Bang, and it was called like the origination theory or the event theory. And another scientist who didn't like it called it the Big Bang theory because he was trying to dumb down the idea, going the Big Bang theory, you know, for fucking idiots. And it was, you know, so that became popular. I'm not really interested in the Big Bang. I'm interested in 4 minutes before that, what was going on.
Right.
A minute before that, what was happening is a really interesting, like, and no one seems to have much of a view. It's weird. You can kind of understand these things. I get glimpses of physics. When someone explains it to me, I can kind of grasp it for a second, and then it's like quicksilver.
Yeah.
I remember I went to a lecture, Stephen Hawking was at my college, and he gave a lecture on time travel, and I got it. And I was like, afterwards, I was so excited, and I was chatting to my friend Henry, and I was gone. Like,
Gone.
If only
I don't
you could
fucking
go
know.
back in time to when you understood it.
That's right. Great point.
yeah.
I think that's brilliant. This is something I've said on the podcast before, but when you talked about an isotope and working on faith, I also say that nothing doesn't exist. Going back to the Big Bang Theory,
Yeah.
either something, God, a word for something we don't understand and can't photograph and can't touch and can't see, that either God erupted, that word, that placeholder, erupted into the Bang Bang, or it was nothing. And I'm like, but nothing doesn't exist. We don't have any nothing. We have empty space, but it's filled with the same everything that you are.
Yeah, I mean, the extraordinary thing is it's mostly nothing.
But that
if you think
nothing-
about what an atom is, it's mostly nothing.
That's right.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of acts like that.
Why are you looking at us? That's such a weird...
Don't look over.
You can just say that and look at both of us.
But what
He looked right through us. It's because there's nothing there.
But dead over?
What, sorry?
When you die, it's just completely over, or you open?
I like to say, I have to do this thing. I do a lot. Weirdly, I'm quite drawn to grief as a thing. I've had friends die. My mother died, and I think you die twice. You die when you die, and you die again the last time someone says your name. I like talking to people about their dead relatives, and that thing of going, I think you do live on, but it's what you bring. Children are a message we send to a future we shall not see. That's it, right? That's why people have kids, because it's an existential crisis, and they go, well, I'll take care of this one, and that'll go forward.
Rupert Spira said the same thing about if they're, again, using God as a placeholder, like, why will the universe, it's in the same way, why have a baby? It's a loving impulse. It wasn't as calculated necessarily as like, oh, well, it'll be this, and they'll do that. And it's more like out of love, this willed itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that for 2,000 years, for the whole of time, every song, every piece of art was about God. And 50 years ago, we switched it up and we said every song's going to be about love. And are we talking about the same thing? And that seems to be fairly, I mean, you know, every rock and roll song now is about love, and whether it's romantic love or love or whatever, it seems that they're sort of talking about the same thing. I think being very open to other people doing their thing. I mean, I think most comics are quite libertarian in their like, oh, you're Muslim, you're Hindu, great, whatever, great, do your thing.
Well, I was just going to jump in. You said the same thing. Love, and I'm getting this from Richard Rohr, but love doesn't just mean a good feeling. Love is this almost excessively liberal yes. It's the backdrop upon which all of this is written. The horrors and the joy and the beauty and the loss and the grief and the suffering and the pain. We don't even like it really, but it's so spacious, we won't be able to hold it in our minds, but we can become it. you can quiet down yourself enough and actually be that yes. But it doesn't just mean a good feeling and I love your comedy.
Well, I think the verb, not a noun, is the kind of simplistic view.
I like that.
Love is a verb, not a noun.
I
think it's a massive attack lyric also. So
That's right.
I would say God is a verb as well. It's the forward undulation of everything.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I think it's you were talking about
I thought it was a comedy podcast.
Yeah,
Dick and balls. Wait. All of our phones are listening. So dildos, butt only dildos, big, thick, butt only dildos. Enjoy those ads for the next week on your Instagram when buttonlydildos.com reaches out. How can you specify it's butt only?
Just a simple labeling system is really the way to go. Was that a rhetorical question? I'm sorry.
No, it's like having a kosher kitchen. These we clean over here. These we clean over here. Thank you.
The
Three
kosher
Jews? I don't know what's happening here.
Well, it's the same with the dildos. One goes for milk and one goes for meat. All right, stop.
Well, you have children.
I got children.
Can I just ask you to refresh something? We had a very interesting conversation at breakfast, something that I think about
Brunch.
a lot.
Yeah.
Is this, by the way, when we were talking about nostalgia, I was like, one of the keys to happiness is having nostalgia for the present.
Oh, do you remember when he said,
Yeah, I do.
you were so tall? How tall is this guy? Like 3 times in the lobby?
God.
It's a great moment.
Yeah.
But to appreciate,
Never forget it.
I don't know if nostalgia is what it used to be.
You long for the days when it...
I used to like it more.
That's right. And you long for those days.
Would you reheat, just for these wonderful people and the people listening, a little bit? We were talking about you're optimistic a little bit, and I like hope. And
I am
we were
optimistic.
talking
We were chatting
about
Steven Pinker's book, Enlightenment Now, which is a fabulous book by a polymath and linguist about how, by any metric you choose, the world is a better place now than it was 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Now, this book was written 4 years ago, and
Not so good at
that's
this
a point Pete made. Not so great just recently.
No,
but
Moshe made that. Moshe.
but things are kind of getting better, and it's difficult. It's a difficult point to make because I think a lot of people, well, immediately that puts their back up and they go, well, you don't know what struggle we're going through right now, and there's so many struggles going on, but the world it's in better shape than it was.
He's at a high altitude. He's talking about the planet.
Yeah, he's talking about the planet, and I think we all have, we're all concerned for so many different things going on at the same time, but you go, it's getting better. We're moving in the right direction, and there will be gay marriage in Saudi Arabia. Now, we probably won't live to see it, but we're moving on a trajectory where there's more liberty and freedom and goodness. Humanity seems to be getting better, and I believe that we'll move in that direction.
Yeah.
That things will get better.
And I know you're not a scientist because neither of us know what an isotope is. But what did you hear about I overheard you say, I really wanted to jump in, but I was talking to Laura. You said, I think the environment will figure it out. And I just was like, what? I like this.
Well, I hope so. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people would say, well, you're being crazy. And people don't seem to want to stop consuming. So, and yet we care about the environment, want things to be better. So for me, it's I'm a big advocate for nuclear. I'm a big advocate, and that's a 20-year solution. And even if we push the button on it today, it would take so long. And believe me, I'm not in charge. But that strikes me as an like the technology solution. I sort of believe in that. There's enough there, and we came across that technology really by accident. Really, I mean, there's
Nuclear.
Huh?
Nuclear,
yeah. I mean, that wouldn't really have happened unless Archduke Franz Ferdinand had been shot.
I love that band.
Perfect. But I'm quite like it. I try and be. I think the other thing is, like my other kind of thing in life, I think disposition is more important than position. Right? That's a pretty good rule for life. How you are, your base state is more important than where you are. And doing comedy puts you in a place, like the gift that comedy gives you is like you're looking through rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
You're looking at everything for the funny side, for the joke, and it's and why are people drawn to your podcast, to going to see comedy shows, to watching Netflix specials, to coming out to shows? They want to feel happy and light and up. And comedy is kind of, and how do you change your disposition? Like, is your disposition solid state? Are you born a certain way, and I guess I'm just a miserable person, or can you change that? Now, if you can't change it, I guess we'd all give up. It is what it is. I think you can change your disposition slowly over time. It's either you change that or you change the world. Much easier to change your disposition.
That's interesting. I actually think that's another thing, and I'd love to hear you talk about this, that you offer as a performer. You talked about we write jokes, we're drug dealers, but I think there's a solidarity thing too. When I see you delighting in your shadow and sharing it and being naughty, right? I go, well, fuck, man, I had like 5 thoughts this morning. We don't control what's going on up here, and things come out. And when I see you being cheeky or whatever, being a rascal, I feel less alone. Wouldn't you say? I mean, that's what we're doing up here. We're going,
That's right.
We don't know what's going on. I'm afraid of the world ending.
Yeah.
And we're together. I always say this, but like the end of Avatar, we're bodies in a room, or you're listening in your car, or whatever it is, and you go like, it's not just me. I can't say it enough.
But I think that's we were chatting about the 2 books that I love, and I can't remember the authors, but there's a book called Tribe, and there's a book called Selfie. And if you read them sort of together, it's absolutely sort of fantastic. But we were, for the longest time, in tribes. We would live with between 60 and 80 people, and those would be our people. For the longest time, that's how humans were. And now we're a little bit disconnected. And the reason why are podcasts popular? Well, because it's conversation. We're gathered around the fire. We're talking, and it's why do you come out to a comedy show and laugh together? Well, it's a social thing. You're 30 times more likely to laugh at a comedy show when you come and see it live than when you watch it on a screen.
Oh, wow.
I apologize to Netflix if they're listening. I still want to deal. But you're much more likely to. It's a social noise. You know, if you're listening to this in your car, you're probably not laughing along with the audience that are in the room. You know, we're getting quite a few laughs in the room, but you're just listening to the podcast going, yeah, it's good, it's a funny point. But you're not laughing. It's a social thing that we do. We don't consciously think, I'm going to laugh so that other people know that I got the joke. It's subconscious.
Yeah.
And and you release the endorphins, and it feels wonderful. And connecting to other people,
It's one of the few things that are left that feels like it's the group mentality. The group all does this and functions as like the audience is like a giant amoeba in many ways, and it functions. You get on stage and you sort of assess as comedians, all right, what are we working with here?
But after like, especially after COVID, like after 2 years of being locked down and people coming out to shows, and you go, well, your life is a screen now. Mm-hmm. You wake up and check your phone, and then your sat nav on the way to work, and then you sit in front of a computer, and then when you get home, you go, well, I've got to relax. I'll look at a screen. Yeah. It's screen. So you want to go out and feel like you're part. It's nice to be in a crowd. It's nice to go. I like sitting in a comedy show and watching with the other people.
You were sort of saying that it almost explains why fame is so alluring. Do you remember saying that?
Yeah.
Would you explain?
What the
idea of tribe? It's more normal to be famous. What's strange going on?
Yeah, that's my theory. Would be being famous is the normal way to be. Being famous, it's like living in a village. Being famous internationally, it's like living in a village, but you've got Alzheimer's.
Did you have to point out that I'm not famous in London?
Yeah.
Internationally.
Yeah.
Hold on, Pete.
You wouldn't understand this.
Yes.
But that
I've
thing
never
of like
had a free
being
Guinness. Let's just say that.
That thing of being recognized is the normal thing. Seeing a stranger would be the unusual thing for the longest time. And now we've said, oh, the norm is just walk down the street and you don't know anyone. And that kind of isn't the norm. It's a strange kind of trick that we played on ourselves, but we're meant to be in groups. And that's why you feel so comfortable with other people around.
I think that's brilliant. David Letterman said it in his Charlie Rose interview where he said being famous turns it into a small town. And I was like, that is what I enjoy about it. I'm an anxious person. I can be afraid. I can be socially awkward. But when you go in and somebody comes up, like at this fest, it's happening constantly. How tall are you?
That's
that makes me feel
I remember
good.
that. How tall are you?
I actually wasn't doing a joke, but like even having you guys here and feeling very safe in my, I know lizard brain is overused, but in my lizard brain, I'm like, I'm safe. You're smiling. You're looking at me. You also know you're safe. I would add to your thing about amoeba, I'm in the amoeba too.
Yeah,
you know
we
what
are
I mean?
part of it. So if
Not all performers do that, though. Some performers go like, I refuse to enter the amoeba, but some go like, let's all
Well,
get in
here's the thing, charm and charisma.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Bring the amoeba to me, Jimmy Carr says.
Yeah.
I
actually wasn't saying you don't get in the amoeba, but that's very interesting.
I believe for the agnostic or someone who doesn't believe in God, I always find those moments where a collective does something together, one of those inexplicable divine moments. So a room full of laughter, a moment where everyone's like, oh, in a story, the moment.
Well, not to make Pete feel insecure, insignificant, less successful, but when you bear with me, when you tour the world as I do, if you
Sure.
do.
Tell us about that.
No,
Uncle
but no, I
Jimmy.
think,
is that like?
no, I'm just saying this because I think people find it interesting. When you do like 40 plus countries globally,
That is
you
the
do
world.
the
I
interesting
did a show in
thing.
Rhode Island once.
Yeah.
The thing you notice is like it's incredible how people are the same. It makes you really believe in humanity because you could do like a tiny show, 50 people or 10,000 people, and they laugh at the same points for the same length of time. You could do a show in Iceland, in South Africa, Melbourne, Australia, Tokyo, wherever you want to go in the world. People are the same. It's extraordinary how we're the same. And it makes you kind of go, oh, maybe things will be okay.
No matter where you go, Jimmy, some of the audience will just be heads in your freezer. That's just a good feeling. Big swing.
Yeah.
Hot take.
It's like we have the DVD commentary on.
And with the subtitles on, you just said, I love you, Pete. Thanks for having me.
Just with a look.
I know. We will wrap up because I feel you're a brilliant guest, and this was great. I didn't feel like it was short at all. Yeah, let's ask.
Sweet.
Just a couple
Thank
more.
you.
Very, very, they can be as long or as short as you'd like, but these are the questions I like to ask. Anything in your life ever happened that you can't explain? That's sort of an umbrella for like things like a UFO or a ghost or a psychic knew the name of your dog when you were 8 or anything like that, the weird stuff.
I would honestly, I have a recurring, I don't know whether you would say it's a psychological issue, but I feel like I may have had some kind of accident when I was 26, and I'm in a hospital bed, and there's a TV on in the corner, and I think the people on the TV are my friends, because I feel like I'm sort of living in a weird dream world, where I get to travel the world doing comedy, and I'm around all these funny people all the time, and I'm on stage in front of thousands, and it feels unbelievable to me.
Yeah. That you feel like your life is so surreal that really...
I feel like, is it a Twilight Zone? Is this real? Am I going to wake up?
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's great. I'm incredibly... I try that kind of gratitude thing. I try and just center that. Try and be as grateful as you can. Or that it just makes life better, just being grateful. But also, I'm an incredibly privileged guy. It's such a privileged life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. What about, have you ever almost died?
Yeah.
Would you care?
Would I care if I died?
No, would you care to...
Feels like you were saying we wouldn't care, but would you care? We could do this right now.
That would only be the first time he died. The last time would be the last time we say his name. So
the problem with the story is it doesn't sound real. I could tell the story, but it doesn't sound real. I was in Key West once, and we were swimming on the reef, and myself and my friend Henry, and we got chased by a shark, and I nearly got eaten by a shark. But
I'm going to need more. When did you first see the shark? And it's Henry Winkler, we all know, but like you're with Henry Winkler,
Hank.
and he goes, "Hey, I think there's a shark over here."
That's when he jumped it. And we have to go to a gala.
Get out of here! Give it up for the Sklar brothers.
We got to go to a gala.
Jimmy and I are going to finish.
thank you.
Love you, Jay.
Love you guys.
Love you, Rand. Bye bye.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
the thing I love about your podcast is you invite two members of the audience up on stage, and it really is.
Well, really, it's the same member twice, but yeah.
They walked out the wrong door. They're so committed to comedy, they fucked that up. Those guys couldn't even leave correctly.
Honestly,
so great, aren't they?
I was like, I'll bring the scars, and I was like, it'll give Jimmy something to work with.
Oh, they're a delight. They're an absolute delight.
I completely agree. They make me happy. So, who saw the shark first?
We were kind of snorkeling. Oh, well, that story still.
Jimmy, it's the most interesting story.
It's not really about. So we're snorkeling and the
Chased!
and we were with these kind of baby sharks, like these little sharks, all day, and you get very kind of blasé about it. And then we saw another baby shark, but it was far away. I don't know if do you know how perspective works? So it was far away and it was small, but then when it got closer, I'll slow down. It turned out it was quite a big shark. It was like a huge fucking thing. And then it was obviously they're territorial or whatever, so we didn't know at the time, but it was, swimming towards us. And we turned around and literally, like the old joke, I had the feeling of going, well, I don't need to outswim a shark. I just have to outswim Henry. And we swam a little bit, and we got up on fire coral. I don't know if you're aware of how fire coral got its name, but it's not great to stand on. And we waited. We tried to get the boat to come over to us, and so we climbed over the fire coral bit, and we got on the boat on the other side. And we got on the boat, and we were like white as a sheet, and kind of a bit panicked. And we got on the boat, and the guys were just laughing at us, going, "It's just reef sharks. What are you? It's just a reef shark, man. They're not going to hurt you. It's just a reef shark. Relax." And we went like a grey with a black tip, and they went, "Oh, oh." Everyone else out the water. It was like it was a real kind of, it was interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
I think
I wasn't bored.
Yeah.
It's one of the best stories of all time that I had to pry out of you.
Do you ever?
And it had punchlines.
Do you ever get that thing on a plane when there's turbulence on a plane? So if there's turbulence on a plane and you think, oh, we might go down, I think it's a really good test in life.
Tell me.
Would you be okay? Would you be okay dying? Because I think the greatest gift, and I've had a couple of friends do it, and it's magnificent if you can, to die well. That's an incredible gift to give your friends.
Yeah.
It's so. I had a friend that died, and it was just extraordinary. Sat me down. We went out. We went and got. He was a writer called A.A. Gill. He wrote this incredible book. If anyone's ever suffered with addiction issues, there's a book called Poor Me, P-O-U-R Me, which is his autobiography. It's
There's
wonderful.
a guy who wrote about addiction, and his name is A.A.
A.A. Gill, yeah. But yeah. But that was the
joke.
thing. It was Adrian. That was his middle name. Was A. But he went under A.A. Gill after he got into the program.
I see.
And he died so well. And we went on the last. We knew it was the last time we were seeing each other. So my other friend does a TV show, and we were going up to see him. And for various reasons, I had to go on a helicopter. So we went up on the helicopter, so we got in the back of the helicopter, and there's a guy from the show in the front, and the driver. They call them pilots. And me and Adrian are in the back, and I'm aware he's going to die soon, and we're aware this is the last time we're going to see each other. And so we sit in the back of the helicopter, and he tells me about life. He tells me about, what's the great thing he shared? Keep your side of the road clean. If you're dealing with someone in your life that's difficult, keep your side of the road clean. That's all. I've had an issue with narcissists in my life. And that's a thing where if you have a narcissist in your life, they have the disease and you have the symptom. But just you have to keep your side clean. And we had this incredible conversation. He knew he was going to die, and I asked him all the questions that you would ask. And it was beautiful. And we finished the conversation, and the helicopter landed, and we got out of the helicopter, and the pilot and the guy from the TV show were just in tears. We're just like ruined by it.
Wow.
Yeah, fucking pussies.
What a... Jimmy Carr, everybody. I know how to host a show. Jimmy Carr, what a night.
Everybody, Jimmy, would you say keep it crispy? It's how we end.
Thank you very much. Great.
Keep it crispy.
Keep it crispy.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming to the show, Montreal. Bye-bye.
You made it weird, you made it weird, you made it weird, oh yeah. You made it weird, you made it weird, you made it weird.